Do you relate well to being spiritual and not religious? Are you looking to transform your life to have greater purpose and experience more joy and abundance? If you are, you've come to the right place. Welcome. I'm Neil Pinkman, the Spiritual Director for the Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey. Over the past 2 decades, our open and affirming, diverse community has helped countless people in the same way. Enjoy watching. If you like what you see, check us out at cslnj.org.
We are God's gift, present of mind, a unique expression of God's love. The manifestation of God's inspiration. You are God's gift, present of mind, a unique expression of God's love. The manifestation of God's inspiration. I am God's gift, present of mind, a unique expression of God's love. The manifestation of God's inspiration. I am God's gift.
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Patricia. So, December for us is a month of love. And our affirmation reflects that. I invite you to read along with our affirmation if you have your programs, and if you are at home, you'll see it pop up in your chat. Not that you can hear me yet, but you'll see that. You can read along. I am the walking, talking evidence of love. Every breath I breathe, every thought I think, every exchange I have is based on and steeped in love, because I am the place where love resides. Love is the power that creates through me in all moments. Because it is love, it can only create love. I respond with love, now and always. And so it is. And at this point, we will do our community greeting, where we stand up and love on each other. And if you're at home, you can unmute and love on each other. Unmute here as well.
These were teachers who taught love. Their religion was love. We cannot escape the necessity of love and compassion. This, then, is my true religion, my simple faith. In this sense, there's no need for temple or church, for mosque or synagogue. No need for complicated philosophy, doctrine, or dogma. Our own heart, our own mind is the temple. The doctrine is compassion, love for others, and respect for their rights and dignity, no matter who or what they are. Ultimately, these are all we need. That's about love. We need to stop and think about how much we are that. We need to constantly remind ourselves that that's where we came from. And when I say we, you can take that as an individual, but I'm talking about we as a community. Because it was us here, well, actually I wasn't here at the time, but all of you who were decades ago, who said, we're building a global community of people. who choose love one person at a time. This month of December, we decided to make about love. There was a theme that CSL Home Office put out, and we looked at it and said, ooh. I don't know how to spell ooh, but as did other centers. I had prayer partners, other ministers who looked and said, we're not doing that. We got to pick something else. So we invited everybody, the 5 ministers that will be speaking this month. And love came through as the theme. Because that's what this is all about.
Yes.
In every way. In its simplest form and in its most complex form. And there's been a lot of hurting going on for the past month. But I want to remind you, too, that you only hurt because you love. It's a privilege. We've got a great month coming up. Today starts us off, and we'll introduce you to our speaker, Reverend Evelyn, in a minute, with her talk today, and Brian will tell you what that's about. Next week, my talk is going to be about a love affair with the all of life. After that, we have Tony asking us a question. And she expects an answer. Love isn't really powerful. And the surprising topic from Reverend Dr. Michelle, Jesus loves you. A little different approach. And Reverend Joel wraps it up this month with radical love. So, the 1/12 of the year left, and I couldn't think of a better way to end this year than revisiting all of that. Our reading today is from page 478 in the textbook. And not so coincidentally, it's titled Love. Love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love and that we are his expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere, which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Words cannot express its depths or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God. In that sense, let us do the peace practice that we always do as well. Because with that comes the peace that we know it comes from that love inside of us, out to the rest. So if you would please repeat after me. I am the peace I want to see.
I am the peace I want to see.
I know this peace for my family.
I know this peace for my family.
I know this peace for my community.
I know this peace for my community.
And my community knows this peace for the world.
And my community knows this peace for the world.
Thank you.
Keeping with that theme, of course, this next song is one we haven't done here before. It's one I wrote and recorded, but never performed it live. So it's going to be an interesting process without all the extra instruments and all the background vocals and stuff. Pared down to the essence. What a crazy time we're living in. Compassion and kindness seem to be wearing thin. Everybody justifies their greed, turning a blind eye to those in need. But the presence of love brings hearts to heal. The presence of love is God revealed. The prayer power of love breaks down the wall. The power of love can conquer all. Only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace, only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace. Weapons of war only maim and kill. False feelings of power, control and thrill. But only through love can plowshares reign. Only through love can mankind gain. Only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace, only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace. A flower can't grow, a river can't flow in the fires of hatred and war. A child can't survive, we won't stay alive in a world without love. What do we stand for? So choose the right door. The presence of love brings hearts to heal. The presence of love is God revealed. The power of love breaks down the wall. The power of love can conquer all. Only through love, only with faith, only in peace. Come on. Only by grace, only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace, only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace, only through love, only with faith, only in peace, only by grace. Very nice next year. Whoa, 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 whoa. Only through love. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Always good to hear something new from you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Really, really good stuff. We have sound yet on Zoom? Oh, we do! Oh, good. It should be working. Everybody can hear me? Yay? Awesome! Yeah, I have a phrase that I often like to repeat. Technology is great when it works. And speaking of technology, we have our speaker, Reverend Evelyn, who's going to talk about a different kind of technology, one that always works, a spiritual technology. And guess what that technology might be? What are we talking about this month? Love! So I'll turn it over to Reverend Evelyn.
So may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, my source, my sweet Holy Spirit. Infinite Spirit, we open our hearts today to explore the profound truth that love is not only who we are, but the energy that binds us together, you and I and all of us. So let me get myself together here. All right, so you have within you a nuclear power plant at the core of your being. Yet you move through this world with a light that flickers and fades. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a spiritual technology, a sacred tool that tunes us to the frequency of the divine. Today, together, we're going to tap into that power plant and fan the flame into an inferno of pure love. So let's begin by exploring how love can serve as a powerful tool, a spiritual technology to align ourselves with spirit. Love bridges the gap between our human hearts and divine wisdom. Like tuning a radio, I guess we're all old enough to know how to use radio, yes. It's like tuning a radio to the right frequency. Love clears interference and connects us to divine clarity and abundance. Am I speaking loud enough, Neil? Am I? Yeah, okay. They said we need more power from the speaker, so I'm trying to speak powerfully. So spiritual technology is a term used in scholarly circles of religious studies for any practice that is believed to enhance a person's spirituality. Usually it is alleged to have some power to increase a person's relationship with something sacred, a sacred force, person, or power. In the book Power versus Force, David R. Hawkins describes love as unconditional, unchanging, and permanent. It doesn't fluctuate. Its source isn't dependent on external factors. Loving is a state of being. It is a forgiving, nurturing, and supportive way of relating in the world. Love isn't intellectual. And it emanates from the heart. It has the capacity to lift others and accomplish great feats because of its purity of motive. For our purposes, I'm calling love a spiritual technology because we can tap into its power. I can tap into its power to align myself with God's source spirit. So there are 92 mentions of the word love in the Science of Mind textbook. The first mention is this. Thus, the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. We do well to listen to this inner voice, for it tells us of a life wonderful in its scope, of a love beyond our fondest dreams, of a freedom which the soul craves. But the great love of the universe must be one with the great law of its own being. And we approach love through the law. This then is the teaching, love and law. As the love of God is perfect, so the law of God is also perfect. We must understand both. And the word love is mentioned 186 times, and in every book of the King James Version of the New Testament of the Christian Bible. 751 times in the entire Bible. In the Quran, the word love is mentioned 190 times in its 79 verses. The Oxford English Dictionary defines technology as machinery and equipment developed from the application of scientific knowledge. But it's also about the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. I can think of no more practical purpose than that of facilitating and sustaining a connection to our divine source. So around here we toss around phrases like God is love and love is all there is. Love is such a foundational force in this world that it's a challenge to find something new to say about it. When I heard that the theme for December was love, there's a particular verse in the Bible that everybody uses, and I was determined to not do that. I wanted to come up with something different. So that's where I got love as a spiritual technology. I wanted us to look at it in a different way. So I wanted to start thinking about love in a new light, one that recognizes it for the sheer power that it holds. In the Science of Mind teaching, we say that God, Spirit, Source, all there is, dwells within me as me. Each of us as an individualized expression of that one power, which is indivisible. As my beloved says, no separation. There's no separation. So as a metaphysician, I often feel caught in the apparent duality of being a spirit in a body on this planet, on this plane of existence. When I forget who I am and I fall under the spell of lack and limitation, despair and depression, it's because I have distanced myself from the love that is God, the love that is my true nature. I often feel caught between the desire to be in prayer and meditation or making art all day. I want to be immersed in those feelings of divine connection and oneness. But then I remember that I must work to make the coins, to pay what it costs to keep this body alive. I send love to the aspects of myself that are bound to my physical nature and the aspects of myself that are transcendent. So can you say these with me? My true nature is transcendent. Yes, I am divine. I am a spark from the eternal flame of the One. I am the embodiment of divine love connected to goodness and truth. Yes. That's a long one, sorry. I am love. Okay, so if we can keep the idea that each of us has access to love as a spiritual technology at the forefront of our minds, our lives would flow more effortlessly. So I'm going to read from a couple of verses in the Science of Mind textbook. Okay, this is from page 82. Spirit is the Father, Mother, God, because it is the principle of unity back of all things. The masculine and the feminine principles both come from the One. Spirit is all life, truth, love, being, cause, and effect. It is the only power in the universe that knows itself. The Spirit could know nothing outside itself that could be God. That would be God and something else. Spirit is all, the center and circumference of everything that exists, both manifest and unmanifest. It has no enemies, no differences, no otherness, no apartness, no separateness, no separation from itself. It is undivided, complete, perfect within itself, having no opposites and no opposition. It knows only its own ability, since it is all. It cannot be hindered in any way, shape, or manner. So love is a central energy through which we experience divine abundance and purpose. On page 293, it says, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being, and that explains why it is that people should have something or someone to love. The life that has not loved has not lived. It is still dead. Love is the sole impulse of creation, and the man who does not have love as the greatest incentive in his or her life never has developed the real creative instinct. No one can swing out into the universal without love. The whole universe is based on it. So when we use the spiritual technology called love, when we consciously practice love, it resolves disharmony and restores balance in our lives. From his 1966 book, Effective Prayer, Ernest Holmes writes, "Love overcomes both hate and fear. However, love does not overcome hate and fear through controversy, argument, or force, but by a subtle power of transformation, transmutation, and sublimation. It is invisible in its essence, but apparent through its act. As light overcomes the darkness, as the presence of heat causes the coolness of a room to change until it is warm and comfortable, so the radiant action of love and peace dissipates fear, hate, and confusion. Love is the victor in every case. Love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the walls of material belief, severs the chain of bondage which thought has imposed, and sets the captives free." The Science of Mind archives quote Holmes as having said, "Reading Emerson was like drinking water to me." Emerson, who had a powerful influence on Holmes' work, wrote, "Love is our highest word and a synonym of God." Emerson had a vision of love as the essence of divine truth, which aligns with the principles of oneness and universal intelligence. So while I was reflecting on the healing power of love in my life, I was reminded how much I have poured my loving, nurturing, mothering energy out into everyone around me. I mothered my children, my husbands, my friends, my partners, even this community. But I never offered that same open-hearted, loving generosity to myself. So one day a few years ago, at the ordination ceremony that we held for Reverend Elaine and Reverend Joel, I had an amazing experience. I was standing at the front, sort of off to the side, near the stage, waiting for the crowd around them to thin so that I could give them a hug and congratulate them. At that time, I was approaching the end of my practitioner training, but I didn't really have any plans for the future. And as I stood there, I heard a voice saying, you will also be ordained. And so I kind of got goosebumps, and I looked around, and it was just the most odd experience. And I wondered what it meant. I had no plans of going into ministry because I had just spent 4 years working towards becoming a practitioner. So, but that same week, when I passed the licensing exam to become a practitioner, the same week that I passed the licensing exam to become a practitioner, because this was a few weeks later, actually about a couple months later, I started my training at the Innovisions Institute for Spiritual Development. This was a 3-year program, and I had already turned 50. Throughout the program, I questioned whether it wasn't too late for me to be pursuing the ministry. Wasn't I too old? I questioned whether it made sense for me to invest so much time to train for a new line of work at my age. And this came up in classes a few times. So at some point, I decided that it was my turn to take care of myself. I stopped hesitating, and I poured myself into my studies. I showered myself with the love that I had given everyone else. The love that I had searched for outside of myself, I gave to myself. And then, 3 years later, at my own ordination ceremony, I cried fresh tears when Mama Ia told me that my ordination name was Ambilikile, which means God called me. I heard a man recently talking about a trip that he took with his wife to hear the Dalai Lama speak. They are both spiritual teachers, and they were among a crowd of sort of elite spiritual teachers that had sort of a private 2-day conference with the Dalai Lama. So there were a few others there in that audience with them, and they thought they were going behind the velvet rope to gain some, secret knowledge that no one had ever heard, and they were all like on the edge of their seats. But after giving his short talk, His Holiness opened up for questions. And each person approached, pouring out their story, thinking they're talking to this holy man, and he's going to give them these gems of wisdom. And his answer to each one of them, love the mother. That's what he said, love the mother. And they were kind of like, and another person would come up and he would say, love the mother. And what he was saying, and he was also smiling, and some of the stories weren't really like, why are you smiling? But his answer that they should inhabit the unconditional love that the mother has for the child And all of your answers are in that. All of your answers are in love. And so they thought that this high holy man was going to solve their problems and they were going to go home and everything was going to be, but he turned them back on themselves, right? Love the mother. And that just means love that place in you that is the love of God. And stay in that place, right? So I thought that was just amazing that, and I could just imagine if I had paid all that money, had a sort of semi-private audience with the Dalai Lama, and he gave everyone the same answer. And they all scratched their heads. Not everybody got it, but those who needed to got it. So, so I asked for inspiration as I was preparing for this talk, and I found a podcast episode from 2021 featuring Dr. Lisa Miller. She's the author of a book called The Awakened Brain, which is amazing. I haven't read it yet, but this podcast episode was amazing. She's the founder of the Spirituality Mind-Body Institute at Columbia University. She also works with the U.S. Army, and she has worked with the 4 stars developing their spiritual readiness initiative. I don't know if you know this, but the U.S. Army, the military, has spiritual training in their programs. And so she's a neuroscientist and a professor who's obsessed with measuring the effects of spirituality on the mind and body. So throughout this episode, she spoke about how we are loved, held, guided, and never alone, and that this knowing is shared amongst humankind. So she shared a quick but powerful practice designed to quickly put you in touch with this idea that you are loved, held, guided, and never alone. Would you like to try this practice?
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, so sit up in your seat and close your eyes if you are willing. Okay, and so let's breathe together. Let's take 3 conscious breaths together. Okay, so now set before you a table. This is your table, and it can look like whatever you want it to look like. Now, I invite you to welcome anyone, living or dead, who truly loves you and has your best interests in mind, to join you at your table. Welcome them. Once they are all seated at the table, ask each one if they love you. Wait to hear their response. Next, invite your higher self, your true eternal self, to come and sit at the table. Ask them if they love you. Finally, invite the God of your understanding, by whatever name you call it, to come and sit at the table. Ask it if it loves you. Now, with all those beings sitting around your table, ask them what they want you to know. Wait for their response. So when you are ready, you can come back to the space, bringing with you the messages of love you received. This is your counsel. This counsel is always available whenever you need it. And you just proved to yourself that you are indeed held, loved, guided, and never alone. So in my day job, I am a marketing copywriter. And at the end of every email or blog post, I include a call to action, which guides the reader as to what to do next. So my call to action to you right now is this. Remember that you are always loved, held, guided, and never alone. Call your counsel together whenever you need support. Remember that you have the equivalent of a nuclear power plant within you. Use the power of love as the spiritual technology that it is. Make love your tool for transformation. Each time you encounter resistance, choose love. Each time you feel lack creeping up, affirm love. And finally, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for getting through a sermon about love without quoting 1 Corinthians. Thank you. Okay, so let's pray. Oh, so I breathe. And so I see myself with this big oak table before me, and I see seated around it all those who love and care for me, and everyone in this room is in that space, is at that table. And I'm grateful for the love that I feel. I'm grateful for the love of God that is everywhere present, that is right here, right now, that is expressing itself through and as me, through and as each one of us. And so I speak this word right now in love, that each one of us would walk out of these doors and spread this love everywhere. As Reverend Michelle always says, no one is against us, even if they think they are. And if they think they are, our love can sort of dismantle that, dismantle those negative intentions. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this beautiful, beloved community. I'm grateful for this day, for this moment right now. I'm grateful for the power of love that is free. It is absolutely free. You don't pay a bill each month for it. It's free. And it's always available. And so I pray that each one of us would remember through every Sunday of this month and beyond to tap into that power of love, to leverage that spiritual technology that love is, to transform our lived experience. Because we live this life from the inside out. Conflict on the inside often mirrors the conflict on the outside. And so when there is peace in my heart, when there is peace in my mind, when there is love in my heart, when there is love in my mind, there's peace in the world, there is love in the world. And so I say thank you. Thank you for the love. Oh, and so I release this word into the perfect law, the law which always says yes, the law which is love, the law which is always available. And I allow it to be so. Please close with me by saying, and so it is.
So it is.
At the Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, we believe in empowering individuals to discover their inner strength and their connection to divine life through our supportive community, transformative workshops, and uplifting services. We provide a safe space for personal growth and spiritual exploration. Whether you're seeking clarity, healing, or a deeper understanding of life's mysteries, our center offers practical tools and timeless wisdom to help you thrive. Join us in creating a more diverse, compassionate, and kind world. Your world, the way you want to create it.